Imagine a world where those who lead are not guided by their own convictions or wisdom, but rather by the whims of others. Where decisions are made based on fleeting trends, the loudest voices in the room, or the easiest paths to take. What would happen to such a leader? How would their reign end? In his classic work, The Prince, Niccolò Machiavelli, the renowned Renaissance political philosopher, warns us of a very real danger: the downfall of a ruler who lacks wisdom or fails to think independently. His words resonate beyond the courts of Renaissance Italy, applying to leaders of all kinds, from heads of state to CEOs, to anyone who wields power or influence. The core lesson Machiavelli imparts is clear and urgent. A leader must cultivate wisdom and autonomy in their decision-making. Without these qualities, they risk falling into ruin. So, what exactly does Machiavelli mean by this warning? How can we apply his insights to our modern lives, where leaders, whether political, corporate, or even personal, influence the direction of societies, companies, and our own journeys? This essay will explore the deep lessons contained in Machiavelli's warning and explore how we can ensure that we, too, do not become victims of external influences. Before we delve into the wisdom of Machiavelli, welcome to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel. If you're new here, this is the place where we explore timeless wisdom from history's great thinkers and apply it to our lives today. Our goal is to help you live a life that is intentional, wise, and filled with purpose. Whether it's philosophy, personal growth, or leadership, we unpack ideas that have stood the test of time. If this sounds like the kind of content that resonates with you, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Join us as we uncover the wisdom of the past to navigate the challenges of the present and future. Let's begin this enlightening journey. Machiavelli's The Prince is often thought of as a handbook for ruthless and manipulative leadership, but this is only part of the story. One of the most critical points Machiavelli makes is that wisdom is essential for leadership. The quote we're examining, "A prince who is not wise, or who is ruled by the whims of others, will fall into ruin," is a stark reminder of the dangers of a leader who lacks sound judgment and independence of thought. In his day, Machiavelli observed that many rulers, whether they were kings, dukes, or princes, were easily swayed by advisors, factions, or the ever-changing tides of political fortunes. He understood that a ruler who relies too heavily on others and fails to make decisions based on their own knowledge, values, and strategic thinking will ultimately lose control. This kind of leader is vulnerable, not only to internal collapse, but to external threats as well. In the context of the modern world, this warning is still incredibly relevant. Whether it's the CEO of a tech startup being influenced by a group of investors, or a politician being swayed by lobbyists or powerful interest groups, the idea of being ruled by external influences is alive and well. The consequences of these decisions, often rooted in the whims of others, can be disastrous not only for the leaders themselves, but for the people they govern or the organizations they lead. But let's break down what Machiavelli is really saying in this warning. What makes a prince wise, and why is independence such a crucial trait for effective leadership? When Machiavelli speaks of a wise prince, he's not referring to mere book knowledge or the ability to recite theories and doctrines. Wisdom, in his sense, is the ability to understand the complexities of power, human nature, and the ever-shifting political landscape. It's about pragmatism, strategic thinking, and the ability to read people and situations accurately. A wise leader is one who knows when to be flexible and when to stand firm, when to listen to counsel, and when to trust their own judgment. In Machiavelli's time, there were many examples of rulers who failed to embody this wisdom. They listened too eagerly to their advisors, took advice without critical thinking, or allowed themselves to be swayed by personal emotions or fleeting opinions. These decisions, often made from a place of ignorance or inexperience, led to their downfall. For example, consider the historical context of The Prince. In the Italian city-states during the Renaissance, rulers were often caught in a web of complex alliances, rivalries, and shifting power dynamics. A ruler could gain a throne one day and lose it the next, depending on who had the most influence or support. Many princes were at the mercy of their advisors. Yet Machiavelli warned, that relying on these advisors without understanding the consequences of their advice could be disastrous. A wise leader, Machiavelli argued, does not merely react to the whims of others. Instead, they cultivate a deep understanding of their environment and act with clear purpose. They know that leadership is not just about winning battles or appeasing factions. It's about maintaining the long-term stability and flourishing of their domain. In the modern world, this principle holds true. Today's leaders are bombarded with advice from every direction: social media, consultants, employees, advisors, and even the public. While advice can be valuable, a leader who simply follows the loudest voice or the most convenient opinion will find themselves directionless and vulnerable. True wisdom involves critical thinking, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of what is right for the long-term good of the organization or people they serve. One of the greatest dangers in leadership, according to Machiavelli, is allowing others to have too much influence over decisions. He writes that a prince who is controlled by the whims of others will ultimately lose their power and authority. This principle is evident throughout history. When a ruler's decisions are constantly swayed by the pressure of external forces, it leads to instability and mistrust. Consider the case of King Louis XVI of France during the late 18th century. While Louis XVI was not devoid of wisdom, his reign was marked by indecision and the influence of advisors who did not always have the best interests of the people in mind. His inability to act decisively and his dependence on the advice of others contributed to the collapse of the monarchy and the eruption of the French Revolution. In a modern corporate setting, this phenomenon is also widespread. CEOs who lack autonomy or fail to stand by their convictions risk being manipulated by short-term pressures, like quarterly earnings reports or the opinions of their investors. Over time, these decisions can harm the long-term stability and reputation of the company. Machiavelli's warning is not only about external influences, but about the internal consequences of lacking independence. A leader who is controlled by others loses their authority and credibility. Over time, subordinates and followers will begin to question the leader's competence, and this erosion of trust can lead to chaos. In the realm of politics, we often see leaders who are backed by powerful interest groups or corporate lobbies, who have significant sway over policy decisions. When leaders base their decisions solely on the desires of these groups, without considering the broader consequences for the population or their own values, they risk losing the trust of their people. Machiavelli's central lesson is the importance of autonomy in decision-making. A wise ruler, he argues, must be able to think independently and make decisions based on their own judgment, not based on the pressures of the moment or the desires of others. Autonomy in leadership is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about being able to take counsel when necessary, but also knowing when to act in alignment with one's principles and understanding. It's about having a clear vision and the confidence to see it through, even when others disagree or push for different directions. For instance, in the world of entrepreneurship, a startup founder may face a multitude of advisors, investors, and critics. While it's crucial to listen to feedback and advice, the successful founder must maintain their vision for the company and make decisions that align with that long-term goal. A leader who cannot make independent decisions will find their company pulled in many different directions, making it hard to build anything coherent or lasting. The same is true for politicians. Leaders in the public sphere, particularly heads of state, must navigate the pressures of public opinion, the influence of political parties, and the demands of foreign powers. A successful leader must have the strength to make difficult decisions that serve the greater good, even when it may not be popular or when there are external pressures urging them to act otherwise. Machiavelli's advice isn't just about making good decisions. It's about trusting one's own judgment and standing firm in the face of opposition. The independent leader does not shy away from tough choices, but remains steadfast in their vision, guided by wisdom and long-term thinking. Machiavelli's warning: a prince who is not wise, or who is ruled by the whims of others, will fall into ruin, holds incredible relevance today, whether we're examining political leaders, corporate CEOs, or personal decision-makers. Wisdom, autonomy, and the ability to think independently are essential qualities for any leader who wishes to maintain power, influence, and stability. In the age of constant information, external pressures, and an overabundance of advice, it's easy to fall prey to the whims of others. Yet, true leadership lies in the ability to make decisions based on one's own convictions, guided by wisdom and with a long-term perspective in mind. As we navigate our own lives and leadership roles, let's remember Machiavelli's timeless advice. Whether in business, politics, or personal development, wisdom and independence of thought are the cornerstones of effective leadership. It is by cultivating these qualities that we ensure our decisions lead to success and stability, rather than ruin. If you found this exploration of Machiavelli's wisdom valuable, don't forget to subscribe to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel. We delve into powerful ideas from history's greatest thinkers and apply them to our modern lives. If you're ready to enhance your leadership skills, think critically, and take control of your own destiny, join us on this journey of growth. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content that will empower you to live with purpose and wisdom